If I'm to comment on the contemporary art in Zimbabwe as the current state right now, I would say there are a few factors that are affecting artists and therefore affecting the whole art scene. For example, I'll talk of the basic material, workspace, and out of the studio. This is what happens in the studio. And then out of the studio, there is the issue of control. And then from there, we also now have the issue of identity. So maybe I might comment on those four and just share with the rest of the world how I see the art scene in Zimbabwe. For example, I'll start with the first two, workspace and material. It's a challenge. We are not at the disposal of as much material as we would want to use. I've just heard a comment from some artists saying that artists don't need a lot of materials to work. They can use whatever they want to use. I don't think that is correct. We are not scavengers. It might be a good thing that in time there might be a movement that might be created. Sorry. So there might be a movement that might be created out of lack, and therefore we'll say, okay, the artists will work with this. For example, most artists that are working with mixed media. From my thinking, any artist who wants to work with mixed media knows exactly what they need. If you want to work with copper, if it is aluminum sheets, if it is mercury that you want to work with, you need to be able to access it in large quantities that you want to use them for, rather than to then go out there and you for example, you would go at a dumping site and then you pick whatever you want to pick. You are more of controlled with what you are picking there rather than the brainchild of the idea that you have, like, I want to make this artwork and this is what I need, and you make a list and you just go shopping. So materials is a big challenge, which might, like I said earlier, might be a good thing when there is a movement for that, but artists should work with in abundance of materials. And then number two, just next to that, is workspace. Most people, they don't have enough space to work from. We need as many studios as possible. Someone is working at his veranda, someone is working at his backyard, someone is sharing a studio with someone. So we need that. So that is what is affecting the actual artist, like from the studio and the materials that they need to be using, so that they produce artworks that are really in their mind, at the back of their mind. And then also the other thing is, out of the studio now there is immediate control, and this is coming from the fact that art is not selling right now in Zimbabwe, and it is a very faithful comment elsewhere in the world. So it's like there are now players that are taking advantage of this, this, I would say, starving artists. As soon as you head out there with your artworks, one, your pricing is determined by someone. Who to sell it to is also determined by, I would say, identity, or rather art appreciation from out there. Before the artist goes out, there is also the collector that he needs to meet out there. He doesn't have a lot of disposable income because of just the general economy at all. And art is not a basic need. It's not like something that is as urgent as paying bills. People think of art after they've paid bills, after they've made sure that they have health insurance, after they have a roof over their head, and then there is art. So with the economy, the last person to be in the minds of people is an artist. So that's another challenge that is there as well. Moreover, we go to galleries. There is less exhibitions that are selling I'll give an example. At the National Gallery, there's a lot of exhibitions that are more communal and informative to the community, and less exhibitions that would allow artists to sell their work, so that at the end of the day they have at least bread on the table, or at least they can afford to buy materials. Also, there are exhibitions that are organized, that are sort of like competitions, and that is now the control that has been talking about, whereby artists, they are waiting eagerly for an exhibition to be put together, and there is a theme that is set. For example, I would say love color, that could be the theme that is set up, and everyone is in their studio. There's a lot of noise in the studios now, and everyone is working towards making artworks that will suit that exhibition. And at the back of the mind of the artist, there is that $1,000 for first prize, or if it is $200 for first prize. It's no longer now doing art for what I want to make it for, or art for art's sake. So that's the kind of control. It's like whoever is controlling the system is directing it straight to the stomach of the artist. So the contemporary art scene is a bit of in a mess at the moment. If we could have a lot of materials at our disposal, if for example musicians, if they want to import musical instruments, there is no duty that they are charged. But if you want to cross with 10 meters of primed canvas, there is duty on you, and we need to just be united as artists and say, you know what, we need also to have this privilege, so that we can have lots of materials at our disposal, and then just start to express ourselves whichever way, with no limitations whatsoever. So we don't want control from materials, we don't want control from gallerists that design competitions, so that we just start to work from those. We also don't want control by going out there and saying, okay, whatever I come across might become a good work of art. Somehow, to me, that is control. I call that casting of lots. You don't know what is going to be the outcome. You just throw lots, and if it's a 6 and a 6 that comes, then that's fine with you. If it's a 1 and a 1, then you cry and all that. So that's the situation, and that's how I would comment it. And it's a challenge, but I'm sure we are getting there.